Sunday night. This is Comic Book Cannon coming to you live from New York and Philadelphia. You like that intro, Joe? That was off the top of my head.
Wow, way to dox me.
Everybody, he lives in Philly. Go get him.
I don't. I live in the suburbs of Philly. Thank you very much. I'll dox myself.
I'm sorry. Anyways, Joe, how are you doing on this fine Sunday evening?
I am doing pretty good. I'm a little tired walking around a con all day today, and I have a hurt knee, which I have no idea what I did. I think it is just old age getting to me.
No, you're not old. Easy peasy. You're good.
Oh, I'm old. You're just ancient.
You.
And Dan De La Torre, that guy, decrepit.
We listen, here's the deal. We started the show off in a friendly way, and now we're already here, and it's been less than 12 seconds. So here we are. That's what the people tune in for, this type of entertainment. Degrading each other. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful time doing such. Happy to be here on yet another Sunday. It truly feels like summer, so hope all y'all are getting out, enjoying pool time, chilling out with friends, being out and about as we do. Joe, I have to admit to you, I am not prepared with the rundown, the document. So let's just get into it here. I got it. Now I'm ready to go. I just wanted to be candid, open and honest with you, and just so you know what's going on. How do you feel about that?
I feel like you're doing your best. You're doing your best. We can't expect too much from you. We know the ceiling of your abilities. And we'll just, we'll take it a little bit at a time.
I have betrayed you a bit, and I apologize. But to make it up to you, I could give you the episode issue. Would you care to see that?
Yeah, I would. It's actually a really good choice this week. Go for it.
It is Savage Dragon number 188. Joe, I have to say this is one of the coolest Savage Dragon covers I have ever seen. How about yourself?
Yeah, it's got a little like throwback to kind of the monster era of the kind of late golden age, early silver age, when, basically in order to get around the Comics Code Authority, they couldn't do these like really horrific things. Superheroes and supervillains were not as popular, so it wasn't much of that stuff. So it was mostly monster themed characters, as we saw in early Strange Tales, Journey into Mystery, as well as even the early days of Marvel Comics and stuff like that. So I think that's pretty cool. I like it. Little throwback cover, and even the cover itself just like looks like it's a Golden Age book.
Definitely, it's got like the kind of like the chipping on the side, if you could see that.
Yep.
Intentionally. I love that. I'm not up on my Savage Dragon books, to be honest. They're up to like issue 270 these days. But the description here is this issue is part of the Emperor Dragon storyline, where Malcolm Dragon, the son of the original Savage Dragon, takes center stage. Malcolm deals with the fallout from his father's actions as the Dragon Emperor, a period which the original dragon was corrupted and ruled the world with an iron fist. I got to get into this, actually. It sounds, I enjoyed reading it back in the day. I haven't read much about it. But very cool cover, really cool featured episode issue. And now we can move on to the news. Now we can fully move on to the news. And you know what I'm loving about the news is that people are already asking our editor-in-chief of news. So it's they're already asking him questions because he knows, because he is the Adam Schefter of the canon. Let's bring him in. Josh from Josh's Comics. Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Listen, I'm on the canon. I got to go. Listen, I will fly back to Japan. We'll discuss the legal actions and what we're going to do. Thank you. Goodbye.
I wanted to avoid all of this talk, to be honest. And during the pre-show, you seemed everything was cool, right? I don't know what's happening here, but here's the deal. It's a little awkward having you on because you haven't been on since we've had, what would you say, Joe? That tiff, that kind of falling out, because he's still on the show.
Did you use the word tiff on purpose there?
But I replaced the second F with a T. Tiff.
Yes, tiff.
Tiff.
Yeah.
Well, look, I'm only here for the people. You guys are definitely not on my Christmas list anymore. And I will have to see what I can do for the people, though.
You know what? You're not coming to our Christmas party then, if we're not on your Christmas list.
That's fine, because I've been invited to a better
Well, I'll tell you what, there will be no Christmas party if we have to pay this $25,000 invoice your lawyer from Japan sent us. It makes no sense whatsoever. You pay for your legal fees. Let's all try to be civil and move on with this show. Can we do that? Can we all agree to do that? I think people are getting sick of this right here.
Let's put it right here, Jeff and Joe.
All right, moving on. Let's just get into the news.
Let's go.
There's a ton of news too, by the way. Stuff I love.
Let's start it off, gentlemen. So this is a big news week. A lot of announcements. Let's start off some Green Lantern news, though. So the series has been picked up at HBO for 8 issues. It's going to follow Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, and they will investigate a murder in the American heartland. Now, you're probably wondering who's writing this. The co-writing for the series will be Damien
Lindelof. Lindelof.
Yes, and you're probably wondering who he is. Well, he wrote for Watchmen and Lost, 2 shows that I've never watched, but maybe he'll be good.
Watchmen was great. I've never watched Lost.
So good. I didn't watch Lost.
We've heard about it, but no, watch it. Also, Tom King, who is known for his work on tons of Batman titles, Supergirl, World of Tomorrow, and other DC comics, will also be writing, and I believe he'll be producing possibly, and he's part of James Gunn's team, so for the DCU. But we also have to remember that we have Guy Gardner already cast from Nathan Fillion, who actually had a bit of a picture exposed. You guys probably didn't see it. Now, I will say this. He's covered. His whole body's covered, and he has a hoodie on, so you can only see his face. You can't see the haircut. You can't see how he looks yet.
Oh, the bowl cut?
Yeah. So I would imagine that knowing the filming outside and a lot of stuff's being leaked picture-wise, I'm sure we're going to see it eventually, but yeah.
Yeah, well, again, I love this. They're going with kind of a True Detective vibe from what they've been describing in the press and press releases and things like that. Investigating a murder in the American heartland. They're like space cops, right? That are.
I originally thought it was that they were going to investigate murders in the cosmos, like out in space. But I'm assuming they're going to try to tie it in as why John and Hale end up coming to Earth, maybe.
Yeah, it's got to be tied to the cosmos in some way, I'm sure. But as you know, the fact that they're moving forward, this is Green Lantern. I think it's fantastic news because I love the Green Lantern, and I'm excited to see the Green Lantern Corps in some way, shape, or form that's moved on from the previous iteration. What would you guys say?
Yeah, I'll say this. I'm not. You all know I've said this a ton of times. I am way more skewed towards Marvel, and when it comes to DC, I am really just focused on Batman, Swamp Thing, and a couple others. But primarily just the Bat family and a couple others. Green Lantern is not one of my fortes. I will say this though. A lot of my good friends, shout out Tony Connor, Alex Domsky, and James Lauricella, are massive Green Lantern fans. And I know a lot about Green Lantern from those 3. So I'm excited because, obviously we won't even talk about the last Green Lantern movie because of how bad it was. So this is kind of going to be my first foray into live action Green Lantern. And maybe I'll end up picking up this character as, something that I enjoy more on the DC side.
It seems like they're in great hands with, again, Damon Lindelof. Watchmen was outstanding. I know a ton of you in the comments, 16 million people watching, did watch Lost. I was not one of them, but I'm excited to see this move forward. And I hope Nathan Fillion is involved with the project. Now, before we move on to the next story, please like and subscribe. That would be very much appreciated. We're going to continue on with that DC theme. This is very, very exciting because it's right around the corner.
So, Batman the Caped Crusader debuts on Amazon Prime August 1st, all issues, and we officially got a trailer, and it's amazing. So, Jeff, take it away.
This trailer, we're not going to play any voice. We don't want to get dinged here in terms of, unlicensed material, but this is a trailer. It's for promotional purposes, so everybody should be cool. But this harkens back to what Bruce Timm has worked on, over 30 years ago? With Batman, the animated series. even the guy's voice, and I can't remember, it's one of your favorite actors, Joe.
Yeah, it's
Really-
Hamish Linklater.
I mean, it sounds just like
it's very good.
What's his face?
Kevin Conroy.
Kevin Conroy. It sounds just like him. So I'm really happy about this. I think all of you are those of Batman the Animated Series fans should be ecstatic about this. It's showing a ton of villains that are going to play a part in this. Obviously, I would think based off of Batman's gloves that it's his early days. I would say, but either way, I'm super psyched.
It's more of a retelling. Like it's set basically in the 1940s and 50s.
Okay.
So it's more like an original take on the original comics.
Okay, well, either way,
makes sense.
Loving it because Batman First Night, that remember the graphic novel or whatever it was that we were that you turned me on to, Josh.
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's more, they're taking, obviously it looks very similar and the same. Bruce Timm's involved. I'm not sure if Paul
Dini
is involved in
I
that.
didn't see his name anywhere.
It's very similar, but it's more of it's like the 1940s Batman.
More old school, yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that J.J. Abrams is involved with the DC property it interests me as well.
And did you see Matt Abrams? Not Matt, J.J. Abrams.
Matt Reeves.
Yeah, Matt Reeves.
Right.
Which he's currently doing the live action Batman movies. Had one come out, is doing a second one, and in between those two, we're getting the Penguin solo series. He's an executive producer on it. So I don't know if that means there will be some sort of connection, or if that just means that, him with his knowledge of Batman will be, overseeing and helping. But either way,
Matt Reeves is helping. Well, maybe this is breaking news, I guess, but Matt Reeves is actually doing an Arkham Asylum show for James Gunn's DCU.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
There we go. Our Adam Schefter breaking some news yet again.
This guy.
But
yeah, anyway, there's one thing I want to say real quick. We mentioned the new voice of Batman. Obviously, we lost Kevin Conroy a couple years ago, and there hasn't been a solidified new Batman. There's been a bunch of names thrown out. Everyone from what's his name?
Jason Ackles.
Yeah, Jensen Ackles. Yeah, the guy from Supernatural. Everyone from him who has done the voice role before, even Will Arnett, who did the voice of Batman in the Lego Batman Lego movie and Lego Batman movie.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I'm just saying things. But Hamish Linklater, he's a phenomenal actor.
Go check out the trailer. Yeah, everybody should check out that trailer.
Absolutely. Yeah, he was in Legion, and more recently he was in. He was the main character really in the show Midnight Mass, and absolutely crushed it. Like, was the best thing about that show, and the show is phenomenal. So if you haven't checked that out, do so.
Well, he's sounding, I don't know. I think it's, in my opinion, it's a good thing. He's sounding a lot like Kevin Conroy. That really kind of keeps moving this type of Batman forward that we all loved watching when we were younger. So really, really, really encourage you all to check out that trailer. Moving on to some Marvel news, Joshua.
So we got some Fantastic Four news to my good friend Kevin. So we found out that Fantastic Four will take place in the 1960s. It's a set piece, I guess you could say. I do have more news, but I don't want to spoil it because it's spoilers. So I think maybe if you tune into my channel next week, I can give you some spoilers on this film.
Yeah, we're gonna want that. Again, this is what we plan for Josh because he's connected. He's tuned in to what's happening there. He's also helping make decisions for the fans too. So as he's spoke with Feige, he's giving him some advice. But Josh is gonna be starting to kind of roll out weekly segments that will have spoilers if you're into that. We don't do spoilers here. We try to avoid spoilers, and sometimes
no spoilers here.
Okay, so basically what you can deduce from this Fantastic Four news, they are not of this Marvel universe, the prime Marvel world, this Fantastic Four. So it's going to be very interesting how they incorporate the Fantastic Four. It's almost going to be like a blank palette that they could just paint over. And then somehow maybe during Secret Wars they get pulled in. Who knows? But I'm very excited.
Don't worry, you'll know next week, Jeff.
Okay. That's if I tune in to your rumors segment. By the way, we have a new news segment that's in the news, and it's all about the rumors without spoilers. You'll see in a hot second. Moving on back to DC. Joshua, take us there.
So a few weeks ago, we got the first look at the Superman suit, and it wasn't well received by most. I thought it was decent, but now we officially got some set pictures here, and you know, I'm kind of okay with it. Obviously, we were talking about this earlier. You know, they got to go through post-production, they got to edit. I'm sure they're gonna make it look better and stuff, but it's so far to me, it looks decent.
Yeah. My bad. Yeah, I'm liking the look here. It harkens back to New 52 with the collar, the way the cape is set. Again, you guys all have to keep in mind, these are taken probably with cell phones at best and a DSLR camera. And it's not intended for those lenses, that type of hardware, whatever. It's intended for what they're filming on. Okay. And I use film loosely. But what's going to happen in the post-production process is they mess with the color. There's sometimes some CGI that is attached to it. So I would say, as Joe and I have done in the past, give it time for it to be the finished product before you judge. I like the look so far, though. I really like what is there.
I mean, it's kind of like, so I didn't mean to cut Joe off, but real quick, I just want to say it's kind of like Matt Reeves' Batman. When that suit, we had set pictures come out before a trailer and everything, and I wasn't digging the suit. A lot of people weren't, and guess what? They killed it in the movie. Like, the suit looked phenomenal, made sense. So we'll
give it some time.
Yeah, I mean, go back and look at Christopher Reeve's suit. Like, obviously, it was a different time, and we have a lot more, you know, advancements in technology and suit making and fabricology and fashion. You know, all that stuff. But at the same time, like, the suit looks fine to me. I don't care either way. I don't need some like super cool looking suit, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't, you know, it doesn't need to be like that. Like, I just care about a good movie.
Exactly. That's what it comes down to. And let's be honest, like, James Gunn has a track record of delivering good movies, even though Dan De La Torre is very skeptical of what is going to happen with DC. I just give it a chance, everybody. Just give it some time. Give it a chance. But that wasn't the only set picture we got there, Joshua, right? We got a terrific set picture of a character called
Mr. Terrific.
Correct.
Can you believe that?
Correct.
So look, I mean, he looks just like from the Spectre, from his debut and everything. The suit looks spot on. The actor actually got in pretty good shape too. So I don't know if we're going to see that play a part, but I'm happy with it. I mean, even from this far, from this shot right here where he's running in the street, I mean, obviously it's not up close, but it looks just like comic accurate. So I'm happy with it.
And by comic accurate, you're talking this, right?
Yes.
That's,
I mean, the hair might be a little bit off, but
people change their hairstyles every day. Joe and
I mean, it's you got to make modification. Listen, I'm not expecting James to copy word for word, suit for suit, picture for picture on every character, right?
But it looks fantastic, and there are some other pictures out there too that just kind of blow.
No, it doesn't look fantastic. It looks terrific.
It does look terrific. And it's even got the detail of the raised face mask. There's an image out there I was trying to find to include, but it looks so great. It really does. And a couple more pictures from that set. We got Superman being arrested by some sort of interesting looking bad guy that I'm sure Joshua knows a little bit about.
Yeah, I kind of got my suspicions.
You got your suspicions. And then here's another one with Mr. Terrific and Superman. Another good look at the suit. And you have some sort of cam op or AC or what have you hanging out on the set. So that's some good stuff. So right there is the news, but not the end of the news segment, because
we forgot to talk about the Clark Kent picture.
Oh, I didn't pull that up. We can talk about it though. That's my fault.
Nah, well,
you got to get a team working for you.
It's not look to me. what's it called? The perm for his haircut term.
Perm, yeah, it looks a little bit like a perm.
I'm not. Listen, I know everybody's like, well, he needs to be disguised. It makes sense. I'm just, I don't know, man. I'm not.
I should have
I'm not
pulled that up,
feeling
and I'm sorry I didn't. It looks
Nah,
pretty
it's
bad.
fine.
But if
Yeah,
you think about it, a perm would be a great disguise with the glasses, and have people be like, "No way in hell would a superhero ever get a perm."
but like, so what does he have? Gel in his pocket, so when he does his suit, he just
No, a
gels up his-
perm. I don't. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, actually, that's a good point. I don't know. I don't know. But let's move on to the next segment. I'm very excited to roll the tape here on Josh's rumor report. We may have some music that we can come up with, right, Joe? Should we do that?
Yeah, we should zoom in, Jeff.
Little Limp Biscuit in there. I see. I see what you're doing.
Rumor report. Pa pa. Rumor report. Pa pa. Was that good?
That was really good. I think we got it. All right. So again, no spoilers, but these are kind of rumors that Josh would like to report on because he's the news editor of the canon.
The rumors. So let's start off with some rumors about the Punisher. Obviously, we know he's coming back in Daredevil Born Again, but it looks like he might be getting his third own season, something that might be announced later this year. I'm going to be completely honest. I love Punisher season 1 and 2, and knowing that he's going to be back and Born Again, I don't want it to just be like a couple episodes and then he leaves. I think the Punisher needs to be around, and I would love to see him in Secret Wars and, whatever happens after that. I think he's a character that needs to be in the MCU.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not so sure if he needs to be one of the featured characters in Secret Wars, but I would love a season 3.
Oh, yeah.
Season 2 left a little bit to be desired. Season 1 was awesome, and his debut in the Netflix iteration of Daredevil was great.
Yeah. That was a lot of people don't like that season. They say they think it's too bloated and too many characters, but that was with him showing up in the beginning and like killing the Russians and you didn't know who it was at first. I mean, that was good stuff.
Absolutely good stuff. Some more interesting rumors, Joshua, please enlighten us.
Yes. So you guys would probably know this guy as John Hamm. He's a good-looking guy. I mean, he looks pretty decent. So John has recently met with both Marvel and DC. He's a comic book nerd as well. But he said, in quote, but he would love to play Dr. Doom. He's kind of gunning for that, so I don't know if we're going to get to see that. I think it would be very interesting. I think he kind of has the Doom look.
Yeah, I mean, here's
opinions.
I do have opinions.
Okay.
I would really like to see, let's go back. I would have liked to see a younger person be cast as Reed Richards, because Doom and Reed Richards should be the same age.
Yeah.
They met in college. That's the part of their historic timeline. So I really wish that they had picked someone younger. We have someone who's like around 50 playing Reed Richards, and I want to say John Hamm's probably around that same age. I like that they are the same age. I mean, it makes more sense, but at the same time, I really wanted someone younger in the role of both of those characters. That being said, I love John Hamm. I think he's a phenomenal actor. I think he could totally do the Doom thing. And I'll give it a chance.
That's all we can do at this point. I would like to put it out to the audience here. If John Hamm is in Doom, what Marvel character would you like to see him play, or even DC character? That's a tough one. I'm not going to. Josh, go ahead.
And call me biased because I love DC and Batman Rogues, but Two-Face.
He'd be a great Harvey Dent.
Oh, he'd be that.
Come on, man.
That's it. I don't need to think.
Whether it's in James Gunn's universe or Matt Reeves. I mean,
he would be outstanding. Yeah,
I could see him pulling it off, and he's got the look of a politician or as a DA and everything. I could see it.
Yeah.
Mad Men. If you watch Mad Men,
Mad Men's excellent. I love it.
Don Draper, right?
Yeah, Don Draper. Yeah, he would be fantastic as Harvey Dent, for sure. Let us know what you guys want to see in the comments. Who John Hamm should play other than Doom. All right, and finally, one more piece of rumor news in Josh's rumor roundup. Is that what we call? I can't even remember. Go ahead, Josh.
So Avengers 5, actually this is a bit of a news and rumor. Last week we missed the news, but Doctor Strange will be returning in Avengers 5. So we know it's shooting next year. And everybody's trying to take a guess at what's the plot going to be, because obviously Avengers 5 will lead into Secret Wars. And the rumor going around is that Avengers 5 will feature the Masters of Evil. Now, there's a couple different versions of the Masters of Evil, and we know the MCU tends to kind of keep the teams kind of the same, but add in new characters. Rumors are that Justin Hammer, Agatina, Doctor Doom, Bolin Zimmer, if I pronounce his name right,
Baron Zemo.
Zoom, and right? Then Mordo from
Doctor Strange.
May possibly be a couple that are featured. So we'll have to see what happens.
That would be pretty dope, again, because that could lead into some sort of Thunderbolt situation, as we know. It's interesting because Jordan Norrie did ask.
We're getting the Thunderbolts movie before we get the next Avengers movie.
Oh yeah, that they wrapped filming of Thunderbolts.
Thunderbolts just wrapped. It comes out next year sometime.
Next year,
But there is no, and I tell you what's interesting about Thunderbolts. I hate to just go off that subject real quick, but they had a closed set. There's hardly any leaks came out of that thing, so I don't know what's going on. But they kept it down because they just wrapped filming a couple weeks ago, and no leaks really got out. Nothing. Unless it's gonna be a boring, crappy movie, and there's nothing really to leak about.
We can't say that for sure. Josh, delivering the news as always. You're a little choppy these days. A little choppy. It's probably that thunderstorm that's going through your area right now.
Yeah.
We are super grateful for you. Y'all should be following Josh at Josh's Comics 01. If you have any questions for him, DM him in the old Instagrams. He'll be happy to bring it up on the show. We could talk more about it. But let's officially close the rumor segment by doing this, because it's just so dandy. And look at this lovely face. Look, Josh's rumor report. Well done, Josh. As always, we'll have you back maybe later in the show, and if not, for sure next week, as long as we get this legal stuff taken care of.
Yes, gentlemen. We
anyways, yeah. So moving on from there, let's what we're going to do right now. We're going to ask you to like and subscribe first off if you like what you're seeing. Obviously, 24 million people currently watching all at once. There has to be a lot of like here, as well as put in your questions for Ask Joe and Jeff. While we do this, we're going to say hello to a few people, and then we're going to learn about a member of the community with our comic book canon. Popcorn. That's right. Real quick, let's just remind you all what the popcorn is. It's that terminology you use in the corporate world where you're tossing to somebody else where, hey, my name is Jeff. I like jelly beans, and I did a really good case study on this boring thing. Let me popcorn it over to Joe. And Joe says,
"Hey, I'm Joe. I like Can you come back to me?"
Yeah, for sure. That's not exactly the best popcorn because Joe would have to hand it off to somebody else, and he was really shy, but that's okay because we've had wonderful people talking about themselves and asking other people to talk about themselves, and we have one of our favorites of the community tonight. Very excited for that. But before we get into that, get your questions in for Ask Joe and Jeff while we say hello to you fine people like Jordan Norrie. Hey. We got Caleb Leland, aka Cable Leland. We had a popcorn with him as well. By the way, Jordan and Caleb are going at it. Jordan is not, I don't know what that dance is. Jordan is not happy that Caleb does not know anything about the Thunderbolts. Mike Hags, who lives in New York, it's a fact, We got Kaboom Comics, something about being live action. We got D&T Comics and Collectibles. By the way, I think Danny's high. I think I saw him say that, and it's okay. It's okay if you are. Mike Hags is suggesting or asking if there were edibles or flowers. We like how you guys, kind of engage with each other. That's what the Ken's.
Yo, hold up. New show, Cannabis Cannon. Let's go.
Oh, that is wonderful.
Says the guy who's never smoked weed in his life.
I've never smoked weed in my life too. That's a true story.
Oh, twinsies, high five it.
Definitely gotten high before though, from a contact high in studio. Have you ever done that where you're recording?
I'm calling the police.
Oh my God, that was bad. We got Dan De La Torre in the house. We got Raising Elm Comics, somebody you may get to know a little bit better before the end of the night in the house. Who else do we have? We got Mr. Tom Freak telling Goonish Lurker. I can't even speak. Just saying. Hello. Who else do we have? We got Goonish Lurker, obviously, in the house. Oh, man, so many wonderful people. Dr. Plagueis in the house. Really not.
It's supposed to say Jeff is a nincompoop.
Jeff is in nincompoop. I've
He's
never been
in nincompoop.
I've never been in that city before.
It's a town in New York.
By the way, Dr. Plagueis apologizing for being late. You need to apologize to us for apologizing is what it comes down to. That's terrible. We got Bond. Paul Bond. In the house. Yes, Josh was back. He did a fantastic job. We got Immortal Scruffy. We got Alexia George. Perfect timing for me to wear my dragon earrings. I'm so prepared. I don't have context. I'm doing this backwards. I am so sorry. Raw Dog Comics in the house. Spider Dude, who makes Fresh from the Comic Shop so special. Thank you for all you do, as well as EGS. I think we may have some EGS news next week. I heard that from a certain source by the name of starts with a T and it ends with an Oni. Huh? Never figured that out. Anyways, very excited about that. Very excited about all you wonderful people. It is a full house. Raising Elm, aka Justin. This full house is going to get to know you just a little bit better right now.
Oh, Jesus. I didn't expect to see you there. What are you doing in my kitchen cabinet? Just kidding. Most of y'all know me as Raising Elm Comics. Around East Texas, I'm known as Justin. But around here, at home, I'm known as Dad Dad. Or Dad Dad Dude. Or No Dad Dad. Dad Dad Help. Weird Dad Dad. I go by many names. One fun fact about me is I'm studying for this bad boy right here. It's my first certification in the IT field. It is thick. It's a lot of material. I test next month. Wish me luck. My first issue that I picked up was when I was about 6 or 7 years old. TMNT Adventures 33, the first appearance of Captain Blue. Picked it up off of a spinner rack in a grocery store. Anyways, what does this hobby mean to me? It's an investment, if I'm being honest. It's an escape. And it's also a way to express myself. It's also something I hope I can share with myself. Hey, Mike Hags, you're next.
I'm loving this segment so much, getting to know people. That is my fault. That music was way too loud over Justin. He's even sent me like a second version where he's talking louder. So I will fix that and get that up on the old Instagrams. Very happy to have Mike Hags next. You are on the clock. Very excited and very excited to learn about what Justin is into outside of where we know he's a father, and I believe his son's name is Elm. I can't remember, but
Elm. It's his initials.
That's what I said.
Yeah, his son's initials are Elm.
Anyways, I didn't say that. But very excited for you to pass that test. Oh, look at that. Plagueis is, man, you people are just so awesome. That was worth the 2-week wait. Yeah, we love this segment. So yeah, I will fix that audio and get that up on the Instagrams. Apologies, Justin. I am awful. But we are now here with the question. It's question and answer time for a little segment that we do call Ask Joe and Jeff. That's right. This segment is called Ask Joe and Jeff. And we'll answer any questions, almost any questions, whether it be about life or about art or about music and maybe even comic books too. We'll do our best. Right now, we don't have any questions, which is strange because y'all definitely get your questions in. So we're gonna bring what?
I was gonna say we got one. A live question from Dan De La Torre.
Can you? You didn't let me finish my sentence.
Go ahead, man.
I had to excuse myself for a second. I just couldn't. I couldn't. Let's have Dan De La Torre ask a live question. What's up, sir? You are obviously on retainer, so you have a job to do. I think it starts officially at 8:45. So let's get this question in quickly because we need you on the clock. You're not in your appropriate your wardrobe. So let's get it going. What do you got?
I'm just glad I'm here to keep you boys from causing trouble. So anyway, that's part of my retainer thing. This is we talked about this before, Joe, and it was when CGC has changed the goalpost, changed the rules and all that, making 9/8s become 9/9s. And I was listening to another comic show. I listen to a lot of comic shows, and the thought came to mind as this subject came up that there's one grade that has sort of fallen under the radar, at least for now, and that's the 9/6. Because if they've moved the goalpost, it seems like, and I took a quick peek on CGC. It seems like a lot of 9/8s are popping up, even from Silver Age books, in fair number, enough to make the suggestion that since they've moved the goalpost from the 9/8 to the 9/9, it seems to me logical that there's a lot of people that have 9/6s. I have a bunch of 9/6s in my collection. They're absolutely gorgeous, and you look at them and they say, "Wait, God, that could be a 9/8." And since they've lowered their standards, are there people, this is my suspicion, sending in 9/6s trying to get 9/8s now that the standards are lower? So is there any validity to this theory? And if so, I mean, this whole thing with the lowering of standards and moving the goalposts could radically change the comic market far more than we thought before, more than just the 9/8, 9/8, 9/9 thing. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I don't know if the goalpost has necessarily been moved. I know that there have been a lot more 9/9s recently, but the vast majority of them, and I think we've talked about this on here before, are modern books and are foil books and our square bound books and our cardstock covers. Now, I do know that there have been some, most notably that have come up is the Giant Size X-Men 1 that got the 9/9. In fact, it just sold this past week for $140,000. And it was the highest sale of more than double, actually, the high sale, or I think about double the high sale of a 9.8. I don't necessarily think that the goalpost has been moved. And the reason I'm saying that is there still aren't, it's not like there's hundreds or thousands of 9/9s like there are 9/8s of these books. There are like 1 or 2. Even if there's 10, that's still not, to me, that doesn't move the goalpost. It makes a couple really, really sought after ones out there. But to me, 9/8 still the goalpost.
Well, let me pause right here because, again, based on this conversation and, again, looking at CGC, these were not modern comics they were talking about. These are Silver Age comics, and, 50 years older. And so, and again, I don't agree with you that the goalposts haven't been moved, because listening to Matt Nelson on another show. He's been interviewed a number of times. He was saying for the 9.9, there are flaws allowed. Not my view. There should be virtually nothing on there. It should virtually walk on water to get a 9.9. So if he's allowing these sort of flaws, he's certainly allowing more for the 9.8s than they're showing. But again, the 9.6 is a category that should be kept in the mix here, because again, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of millions are out there. And if again, I've got plenty in my collection that I could look and say, hey, damn it, this could be, with their new, looking at things, this could be a 9.8. I don't see why not.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that 9.9 is a really underrated grade. Or sorry, 9.6 is a really underrated grade. I'm with you on that one. Yeah. That, like, to me, how the market does things, a 9.8 is here, a 9.6 is down here, and then a 9.4 is just under a 9.6. It's not at all in the middle. In my opinion, at least for stuff Bronze Age and older, a 9.8, a 9.6, and a 9.4 should kind of have an equal amount of space, quote unquote, between them. But generally, if you look at sale prices, 9.6s and 9.4s are always way closer than 9.8s. People want the top of the census. People are willing to pay up for the 9.8. I understand why it ended up like that, but to me, I very much think that 9.6s are underrated. For older books, for pre-75, let's say, which CGC denotes that their modern tier is 1975 to present, so kind of halfway through the Bronze Age there, almost halfway.
And that's a huge range, by the way.
Yeah,
up. Wow.
Right. Yeah, that's their modern tier, and then their vintage tier is pre-1975. So everything pre-1975 going back. Even into the comic pamphlets of like the 1800s, 19th century. That being said, I keep a lot of my books raw for the reason of, if it looks nice and it's high grade or relatively high grade or mid grade or whatever it may be, I don't necessarily need to have a number stamped on it. I would rather, in a lot of cases, if it's not a super expensive book or a super fragile book, I just want to keep it raw and be able to flip through it whenever I want, So I'm with you, Dan. I definitely agree that 9.6s are underrated. And will we see people crack 9.6s and turn them into 9.8s if there is in fact, a different grading scale being used now? Yeah, I think that's something that people are definitely going to do, which could in turn help prop up the value of 9.6s. If there's a lot of potential on those, if people start cracking and resubmitting, I could definitely see that being something to boost the market there on 9.6s.
That's crazy. I'm going to leave this to you guys because, again, I'm not actively out there looking for CGC, or every once in a while I'll submit books that I have. But, like, again, I leave that to you guys. I have not even paid attention to any of that, other than I know that they do 9.9s now. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
again, I like the Dan's concern, but I also like Joe's kind of thought overall. Let us know what you all think in the chat. Mr. De La Torre, Your Honor, you will be back in another capacity. Am I right?
Yes, sir, I will.
All right, we will see you soon. Very good question, though. Very good question, as always. Next question we have from Danny. Danny, D&T Comics Collectibles. Tessa is his fiance, by the way. Ask Joe, CBC, what's the difference between pulps and comics? Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So pulps recently have been talked about a lot in the comic community, because CGC started grading them. They've that's something that's definitely propelled the popularity of pulps, gotten people to talk about them and stuff. They are actually not comic books at all. They do not have interior pictures, or rather their interior pictures are mostly just like a page every once in a while, sort of like a regular book. They are almost like magazine format novellas. They're thicker than comics, but typically not as thick as a whole book. And they often will either have a group of short stories or one longer story. The collectability generally comes from the cover itself, more so than the content of the book. Whereas with comics, these first appearances and stuff, they don't necessarily have to have the characters on the cover, so on and so forth. Pulps obviously do have first appearances, but a lot of those characters didn't really stick around and have a significant cultural impact. So it's mostly the cover art on those. They overlapped comics quite a bit. They do predate them. I think pulps go back, if I'm remembering correctly. Forgive me if I'm wrong on this because I am not a pulp guy, but I've seen them back into the 1920s. I don't know if they were around before that though, but they definitely overlapped with comics as well into the 60s and maybe even early 70s. But yeah, it's not panelized picture stories as we see in comics. It's text based. It's fully text based.
And the name comes from the cheap paper used to print them, if not
Yeah.
mistaken. That's why it's
paper pulp.
Yeah.
Which is they call that trash media. Comics are the same thing. It was something that was meant to be read, enjoyed, entertained, maybe passed on to a friend or a sibling, and then eventually thrown away. And for that reason, the vast majority of comics in the early days, all the way up really until the Bronze Age, and the vast majority of pulps from the same time period were in fact thrown away, which is why there's just not a lot of them out there anymore.
Yep, for sure. Before we get to the next question, hello, Nukes. Just want to say that Nukes is celebrating his son's 15th birthday. Give a hearty cannon birthday salute.
Woo!
Or would you? How does that birthday salute go? It's your birthday. That sounds like a birthday salute, doesn't it?
Amen.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, anyways, moving on. Oh, favorite villain, Joe, Jeff, Josh, and Dan. We got to bring the guys back in. Let's get them ready. Warm up those vocal cords. Syllabus. New York.
Favorite villain. This is just in general favorite villain.
Yeah, this is a tough one.
If I have to pick one, I'm going to go Mysterio.
Definitely the coolest looking.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Josh.
Fishbowl head.
Josh, you.
I'm gonna have to go with Joker.
That's a good
Saw that one coming.
Dan,
I think it's
undeniable.
Undeniable that Joker has had more significant impact on culture than anything else. So that's a good one.
No, it's facts, 100%.
Yeah.
Doom is the logical choice, but I fell in love with the Loki character, so I'm going to go with Loki.
Loki's a good one. Very complex. I'm going to go with one that's not always seen as a hero. It's the Hulk.
As a villain, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I'm just doing that just because I really don't. Off the top of I don't like doing this top 5 list, or my favorite. It's really hard for me to say, but it's kind of intriguing where he's been in this journey of comics. So yeah, that's what I'll say. All right, moving on. Good gentlemen, good day. Well, we'll see you soon. Moving on. We got Alexi George. Joe, what's your favorite tattoo? And Jeff, IDK, which means I don't know for all you people not following. If you have tattoos, so who's your favorite artist?
Man, this is a tough one because I like a lot of my tattoos.
You want me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just to give you time to think about a proper answer because you have way more tattoos than I do. So I can
go ahead.
Okay. So I do have a favorite tattoo. I have a few, but this one right here, jeez Louise, how do I don't know. It's
an ice cream cone. Cool.
Yeah, no, it's not. It represents the house I grew up in. Me and my brother and I actually both have this tattoo. It's a diamond for Delaware, which is unofficially called the Diamond State. It's a brick right here with RR. That's Rothbury Road, and then 509 was the number of the house. So that's that. And my favorite artist is John Byrne.
Ooh, yeah.
You should answer all of those questions. Actually, tell us your favorite artist too.
I have my favorite artist too.
Yep.
I'll go with favorite modern artist. I do love the work of Jock.
Jock's, yeah.
There's too many like veterans that I just really love. So I'll go with Jock. I have a tattoo on this leg. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to show it because it's like on my shin. We're gonna do our best.
I really hope you don't fall out of your chair. I'm being sincere. Please don't fall.
It's already happened once. Ugh.
There we go. Hold on. I'm
Right
going to bring
there.
you full screen.
Yeah. So that is character Liliana Vess from Magic the Gathering. I do love me some Magic the Gathering, and yeah, she's a planeswalker who made a pact with a demon, and she's cool.
The Honorable Dan De La Torre left in the private chat that says too much cheesecake. Not sure what he's referring to, but I think it's funny. Let's bring Joshua in because Josh has a tattoo, and you have to tell us your favorite artist too. Go for it.
So I have one tattoo, and it's in Latin. Si vis pacem palabellum. It's actually from the original Punisher film with Thomas Jane. He says it.
Yeah.
And it translates to, if you want peace, prepare for war. And my favorite artist, I'm probably gonna have to say Neil Adams.
That's a good one.
He did so many iconic Batman art, and like I got to go with him.
Yeah, for sure. Neil Adams, just iconic art in general. Yeah, Joe Falling was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we need to go back and clip that because the Joe falling through the kids play place thing, which is probably, now that I mentioned, is probably going to drop in the next 10 seconds. That's great and all, but if we have me falling out of my chair too, we can just have a look.
Давай, может пойти с моей малой.
I'm guessing that's Shelby because that's what makes me laugh even more is her cracking up
in the background.
That's fantastic. Josh, that is a delight. I like your tattoo and I like your artist. I do want to say, yeah, Caleb, as I've gotten older, I've realized that he is kind of garbage. Yeah, his thoughts, his beliefs, and the things he says. John Byrne left such an impression on me though as a kid, and I've said this before. It's like that's when I realized that all artists didn't have the same style. They didn't look alike, and you could tell artists once you got to know them really well, and that really was kind of a big deal for me. So that's wow. No, that the variant actually fell much further. You'd be dead, Joe, if you fell that far. Oh, and we want to just bring up too Salvi Sama for Dan De La Torre. That's a classic one as well.
I'm being called out in the chat right now, gentlemen.
By who?
My bond, and yeah,
the movie was bad. So was
I don't consider that OG Punisher. I do love Dolph. Don't get me wrong, but that movie, nah, that's not. We're not gonna. That's just like Green Lantern. We're not gonna talk about it. It doesn't exist.
Yeah,
wipe it off.
It's okay. It's part of comic book movie lore. And with that, we're gonna say goodbye to you. So he doesn't say anything else. Josh, we love you. That's terrible. What else? Who do we have? Oh, Josh's Comics, actually. What are the best comic supplies to use for bags, boards, and comic storage?
I prefer BCW for everything. They're quote unquote industry leaders. I think that they probably have the most sales. They're probably the biggest company that does comic book stuff, and they really have everything. They have bags, boards, cardboard containers, plastic containers. They even have fabric containers that you can break down. They have Mylar. They have bags for slabs. They have bags for magazines and even treasury editions. So I just get everything from them, mainly because I order it all from them. And if you spend at least $1,000, you get free shipping. So we usually put in an order. Me, Paul Bond, Pope of Chilitown, we'll put in an order together, and we'll just get it all at once.
Dan De La Torre is a BCW user as well, and Bronzeville likes the Ziploc variety of comic book bags, boards, just the Ziplocs. I have to say, I'll be honest, like I don't need as much inventory as you do, so I get what's easily available wherever I am. Sometimes I'll order from Amazon, and I'll get BCW that way. If I think ahead, I never think ahead, and I'm always like, well, I need bags now, and run to the closest store. So that's what I do. In terms of, and I've been trying to edit this together. It's been taking me forever, but there is I want to do a product review on something called drawer boxes. They are actually you have long boxes and short boxes, but it's a system you put together as drawers for them, and I'm not going to tell you what I think either way right now because I'm going to try and get that review up, but that's something I do want to kind of show you all. Moving on. Here we go. Scruffy's killing me because this is really tough for me to answer. Ask Joe and Jeff, what are your top 5 favorite storylines? To make it easier, Joe, I think we should do favorite DC, favorite Marvel. And if there's an indie one, go for it.
I'm gonna do 2 DC, I'm gonna do 2 Marvel, I'm gonna do 1 indie. Okay. I'm gonna start off with my indie because I always tout this as being my favorite indie, and I've probably talked about it 20 times on the show. Witches. Witches by Scott Snyder and Jock, who I just mentioned a little bit ago. There is only 1 volume, 6 issues. There is a one-shot that came out a couple years after that on Halloween. It's called Bad Egg. And then volume 2 has been in the works for so long at this point. I don't know if it'll ever come out, but there is a show coming out on Amazon Prime, possibly as early as this October. Either way, yeah, Witches is my go-to for indie. Marvel, it is very hard to beat Days of Future Past. It is a phenomenal, just 2-issue storyline. It's been made into a movie. It's been reprinted in trade paperback, prestige edition formats, and you can kind of get it very accessible. And it just really, really did a lot to expand X-Men, expand the time travel elements of that Marvel was doing at the time in the early 80s, Chris Claremont. And it introduced a lot of characters that still stay key to the day. Pyro, most notably. A second, we'll go over DC. DC, I am a very massive fan of the Batman Hush run. That is just A+ work there. It's what, 13, is it 12 or 13 issues? I forget, but it's great. It's got Jim Lee artwork. It's written by Jeff Loeb, and it is just absolutely great, and it is in the main continuity as well. It's issue 608 to 619, so I guess that is 12 issues. Going back to Marvel, I'm going to go with really, again, this is only a 2-issue arc here, but the death of Gwen Stacy, death of Green Goblin. Like that was a big kickoff to the Bronze Age. It was about a year or two after the Bronze Age truly did start, but it was definitely the first Spider-Man thing that really, really felt like the Bronze Age. 2 major characters being killed off in such an emotional way. Peter's love interest, Peter's best friend's father / arguably the greatest Spider-Man villain there ever was. Good stuff. And then going back to DC, I hate to do another Batman one, but like I always say, I'm a Batman guy as far as DC. So I am going to go with another Batman one, and that is another 12-issue run, Batman: The Long Halloween. Again, has been obviously a very popular one, has been made into a film. And yeah, it's a great read. I had always heard about it. I always heard people talk about Long Halloween. I didn't read it until I was probably in my mid-20s, which it came out in the 90s when I was a kid. But I had always heard Batman, Long Halloween. And I never ended up reading it until probably about 10 years ago, 8 years ago. I don't know. Pretty recently. Yeah, that's my 5. Go ahead, Jeff.
I can't believe you got to 5. I'm racking my brain right now at some there's so, because again, people ask me, oh, what's your top 5 favorite movies? Or 5 favorite comedies, but I can't. That's not how I operate, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. For DC, Blackest Night blew me away. I loved Blackest Night. For Marvel, I will say the run of like the introduction of Venom, and then where Peter Parker finally ditches the black suit and goes back to the old red and blues, the early, the 298 to 301 or something like that. I
Yeah.
do love that run. Obviously, McFarlane art and Michelini's writing. Is that how you pronounce his name? Michelini?
Michelini, yeah.
One of my favorite all-time single issues, which again, I don't know if it counts as a storyline or what was the question's storyline. I guess it's a storyline. Is this book right here blew me away back in the 90s, where never been done before, but talking about like AIDS in comic books. And reading this as a kid, it just left such an impression on me. This is one of my favorite books of all time in terms of a reading. I love Dale Keown's art and Peter David. Peter David never shied away from things like this. So I truly love this storyline. I think I think it's fantastic here. The storyline of how we got here. You know what I'm talking about? How we got to know Comics Code.
Yep. That's
those
key. I definitely thought about that one.
Those 3 issues right there as well. So I don't know how many that is, but I hope I gave you some interesting answers there, Scruffy. All right. Great question, though. Absolutely great question. We need to move on to the next one, which is, do y'all plan on watching the Suicide Squad anime?
So I am not an anime guy. I watched Dragon Ball Z as a kid religiously and a couple other animes. If you include Pokemon, then yeah, I guess that one too. But in my adulthood, I've really wanted to get more into anime. So I think that might be a good way for me to, like, I love all this Studio Ghibli stuff. So yeah, I'm probably going to watch that just because it's got, something that I already know involved with it.
I'm going to make this short and quick. No. No offense, though, please. Anime is just, I don't know. It's just not my thing. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it. I love this question. This is how we're going to end the night. Or end the Ask Joe. Ask Joe and Jeff, what's the best rap lyricist in your opinion? I got Big Pun.
Big Pun's a good answer. Man, this is a tough one. I do really like Pharaoh Monch. As far as lyrically, he's very abstract and goes outside of, like, literally goes outside of the physical realm and goes into like these theoretical things, and I think that's really cool. But then, then there's classics. There's Nas, the storyteller, and storytelling is it's a style of lyricism that Nas does better than anyone ever has, and probably anyone ever will. So there, I just named a couple.
That's the thing. So you're getting my like trying to figure out the top this or the top that. Right now, I see you having trouble too. Like it's hard, but I will say for me, it's really close between these two, and it's Q-Tip from Tribe Called Quest.
Okay. Yeah.
And Tariq Black Thought Trotter from The Roots.
Oh, Black Thought's good.
Black Thought is incredible as not only a lyricist, but he translates that lyricist, being such a good lyricist, into freestyling.
Yeah.
His freestyling is, I've never seen it. In my opinion, he's the best freestyler. He's unbelievable. You guys are not familiar with The Roots, a Philly band. They also are Jimmy Fallon's band as well. They are incredible. Black Thought is top tier for me. And I love this question too, by the way. I absolutely love this question. So one thing I do want to address before we play that wonderful music again. You did it, Paul. I was trying to avoid this whole thing. Trying to avoid it, but I am so psyched about this whole thing. I was trying to not talk about it, but I talked to my local comic book shop guy today quite a bit about the Energon universe. So yeah. All right. Thank you all for those wonderful questions. And next week, we're going to have another episode or another segment called Ask Joe and Jeff.
And Jeff.
And me. Wonderful. And here we are, rounding out the episode here with a segment that we truly do love. that we truly, truly do love. It's one that's called shit. What is it called, Joe?
I can't believe you cursed on the live stream.
I did. Mother
I'm
effer.
calling your mother. I'm gonna have her
No.
wash your mouth out with
No,
soap.
please do not. Do not. The soap they have tastes horrible. Please.
What is it?
It's Dial.
Dial.
First thing that came to my mind. I don't know, man.
Wow. If they wash your mouth out with soap, at least your mouth will be
All right. Honest question.
fresh.
Hold on, no. Before I do have to ask this and the audience: has anybody ever had their mouth washed out with soap? Because I have, and it is an awful experience as a kid. You never
I
did?
haven't. My parents, would never have done that.
Oh God, it was so bad. I didn't get hit. I didn't get spanked very often at all. But my mom was so frustrated with me one time. Well, actually, a few times. I got the soap in the mouth, and it was hideous. Anyways, what is this? What is this segment? Oh, by the way, people are saying they got them. So bad. It's like I'm salivating, right? Oh, even Josh did too. Josh as well. Alexia George says you got soap and hot sauce. Oh,
wait, hold on a second. We need to clarify. Is that soap and hot sauce on different occasions, or is that soap and hot sauce mixed together? Because those are two very different things.
Yeah. Oh God, that's awful. By the way, Josh wants to say his dad made him eat a whole pack of cigarettes because he stole it. Oh, that's terrible. He had a what?
So quick story. I was probably about like 12 or 13. I stole my dad would buy 2 to 3 cartons a week.
Wow.
He's a truck driver, okay? So I figured one pack he wouldn't miss, okay? And, you're trying to look good in front of your buddies at that age, look cool. I was outside across the street playing with my friends football. It's a summer day. The windows are open. You could hear him screaming my name across the road at our house. I left my cigarettes in my sock drawer on top of and I didn't even put the socks on top of them. I just put them on top of the socks. So if you pulled out the drawer, he was looking for like toenail clippers or something. I usually put them in there, and he found them. And there was about 6 or 7 left in the pack. And the same thing that his mom made him do when he was a kid, he made me eat one, and I had it, filter and all the way through. And my stupidity was he said, so how does that taste? And I said, you know what? Tastes pretty good. I like the way it tastes. He's like, good, go ahead. You can eat the whole thing.
Oh God.
So I had to eat all like 6 or 7 of them. And man, I got sick. My throat. Oh my God. It was disgusting.
But can I ask you, did you like take a bite of each one, or did you shove each one in your mouth? Get it over with?
I took one each, chewed it down, and
oh God, Josh. Oh my God.
Let me tell you something. I have nightmares about it sometimes.
But we still need.
This is wild to me because I grew up in a family that like these things would have never ever happened to me.
Yeah, lucky.
Even though I'll admittedly I was a bad kid. Yeah.
Wow, you got lucky. I'll tell you that. Alexia, we need clarification. Like I can't sleep tonight until you say if it was soap and hot sauce at the same time. The fact that Josh just opened up to the world, 22 million people, and told them that he had to eat cigarettes.
Yeah, and also,
hey, it worked. I haven't touched one since then, so it worked.
Well done. So that's good parenting.
Yeah.
So,
follow-up question though, like, are we talking like, Tabasco and Irish Springs? Or we're talking
mobile light cigarettes.
No. We're asking about Alexia.
Not talking
Alexia's
about
punishment was soap and hot sauce.
Yeah.
And Alexia will not let us know if that was at the same time. So
I kind of think if you had hot sauce, I mean, it might actually.
It may make it better.
Yeah, maybe.
Brandon, you came in at an interesting time. Papa, hey there, Tiger. Before heading off on vacation. Oh, have fun on vacation. And I don't know if you've ever had soap in your mouth for getting in trouble. That's what we're talking about right now.
And I certainly will be staying hard.
All right, we're gonna move on here, Joshua. As always,
get out of here.
Get out of here. Tapatio. I do like
Soft soap.
separate
and
occasions except for
Tapatio.
2 times. I'm talking soft soap and Tapatio.
I hate this.
Oh, that sounds awful. All right. With that, Joe, we do a segment. We do a segment. What do we do?
At this point, I think the show's over. Have a
it's
good
just-
night, everyone. See you later. Bye. Just kidding. We're back. We're back. We got to do the segment. It's wait, hold on. Whoop. Gotta
Really,
switch this.
yeah. It's hard. We're just gonna get into it.
Fresh from the comic
comic shop, fly from the press and salon. I have like the idea of soap in my mouth right now, and I'm trying. We ask you, the viewers and the audience, to send in your fresh gets each and every week, and you never disappoint. And if it's not only rewarding enough to be able to share your fresh gets with this community, but you can also win a monthly prize from the wonderful partners called EGS and Spider Dude Comics. Yes, they make Fresh from the Comic Shop great. Please follow them. If you don't, we're going to give you a pop in the mouth. I don't know. No, we're not going to do that. We don't want to scare people away. I'm still thrown off by the whole soap in the mouth thing. But yes, you can win a monthly prize courtesy of EGS slabbing EGS Grading Company and Spider Dude Comics. EGS, the wonderful, wonderful product of their proprietary slabs, customized labels mixed with Spider Dude's collection of, or not, inventory of comic books. One of the greatest online comic book vendors out there. Very proud to have them sponsor this segment right here. I'm just again thinking about soap in the mouth. Again, save 5% off your EGS order using the code Cannon5. Optional custom labels, free grader notes, fast turnaround times. EGScomicsgrading.com. The link is down below, as well as Spider Dude Comics. Now, before we get into it, we have some business to take care of, and that is to let you all know we have a finals coming up to win this wonderful book right here. The June book of the month is this beautiful Marvel 1000 Mark Brooks 40s cover. Look at the customized the customized label, that wonderful slab, and that book. That cover is just, as the kids say, fire, Joe. Wouldn't you agree? It's fire.
Red hot flames. Yes.
Red hot flames, no doubt about that. So we had a semifinals this past week that will lead us to our finals. SuperCrispy.comics is in the finals with that amazing deceased cover that was done by a community member, sketch cover, Kaboom Comics. And they will be going up against Nori Jordan, who beat out good friend of the show as well, Raising Elm. They're good friends too, actually. So we'll have that up. And Adam will also be announcing the July book of the month in a bit next week, actually. And also get your Fresh from the Comic Shop t-shirt there from CNGO down below. Link is down below. Just a reminder, the 2024 winners are Mike Hags in January. We have Dr. Plagueis in February. We have Mons Comics in March. We have Nukes Comics in April. And in May, it was it was Kaboom Comics. That's who it was. We got to update that. All right. So think about this, though, before submitting. We have 3 criteria that help you move on to the semifinals, which the community votes for. That would be all of you fine people watching. Now, Joe, how do you want to do this? What do you want to do?
Take that first one. Go ahead.
Okay. For presentation, take a nice, well-composed shot. Give us that beautiful depth of field. Give us something that relates to the comic book in the image. Someone who does a great job with that is Raising Elm, as you saw in his submission that was in the semifinals. It was very meta. It was unbelievable. One of the best submissions we have ever seen. With the comic book is a cover of somebody holding it, and he recreated that cover by holding that comic book with the Fresh from the Comic Shop logo, with Joe, Chris, myself. It blew me away. So anyways, think about your presentation. Don't take them in your, laying next to your feet with your crusty old disgusting toenails. Second criteria, Joe.
Yeah, second criteria. We want to see something unique. Now, unique I want to preface this by saying that unique does not necessarily mean that it's, oh, I don't know, like $30,000 or something, because we know not everyone's on that budget. I'm certainly not on that budget. We know Jeff's not on that budget. We know this is his parents' basement that he is currently filming this from. Come on, man. Just tell the people the truth.
Stop calling me, Mom. I'm trying to do the show.
I'm trying to do the canon.
I'll do the dishes later.
So the comic book, in order to be unique, doesn't need to be $30,000. It could just be something that's lesser known. Everyone knows that Amazing Spider-Man crap, that Uncanny X-Men bullshit. And, of course, oh, I said a swear word. Oh. Of course, everyone knows that Detective Comics and Batman hanky-panky thing going on. But not everyone knows maybe a random indie book or something from the golden age like Mark Leneker shows us all the time. Or maybe this comic book has something unique about it, such as a signature, original art, an error printing, or an unknown variant, a lesser known variant, a more rare variant, whatever it may be. Show us something that is unique.
Unique. And I think you did a great job explaining unique. And I'm going to explain to you, do a great job explaining story, right? Tell us a story. What does this book mean to you? How do you have an emotional connection with that book? Does it remind you of a relative? Does it remind you of a best friend? Does it remind you of the book you may have had, the first comic book you ever collected that you may have had, and you were looking at it, reminiscing back in the day of when you picked that up when you were 10 years old? 10 years old, young man, and you're just sitting there drinking your beer. God, I love this book. Love this book. And you're listening to music and you're jamming out. You're like, yeah, I love this book. Next thing you know, you're 12 beers in, right, Joe? Because you know how it happens. It just happens quick, right?
Sure. Listening to Rock You Like a Hurricane, right?
Yeah, Scorpions, absolutely. Rock You Like a Hurricane. You're like, I love this book. Rock You Like a Hurricane. And then you do that last shot of whiskey before you want to go to bed. Boom. Down that shot of whiskey. You just can't contain your stomach can't hold all of it, Joe.
Nope.
And you vomit all over your book. The first book you ever got. First book you ever got as a kid. It was in your hands right there, and you vomit over it, right? Vomit. You take it to somebody like Paul Bond. You say, can you get this vomit off of this book? And he's going to be like, no, I don't do vomit, bro. I don't do vomit. And that book is ruined. But guess what, Joe? You are an adult. What do you have?
You have an adult job that provides adult money for your adult.
And you just have to go back out and get that book again, even though it wasn't the original book you got in your hands from the spinner rack at the comic book shop. But you have to make do. You know what I mean? You dug your grave. Go buy that book out there. Tell us what it means to you. And right there, you have it. You could show the vomit picture, Joe, right? Before.
Ooh,
and then what you got after. No, you don't think that'd be a winner? Anyways, that's just giving you guys the basic.
Bring on the vomit. I'm ready for it.
Okay. Basic idea. Vomiting all over X Factor #1. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. It was a great book, but you just could not hold your liquor. So right there, that should give you an idea of submitting. And just to submit, please be sure to tag us in the picture, not in the description. And use the hashtag FFTCS, even though those hashtags really just don't do much these days. But be sure to tag us in the picture. If it's in the description, we will never see it. So here we go. Let's just start it off, shall we? Somebody who's not eligible, but it's a nice picture. Nice picture right here. Nukes Comics. Fresh from the comic shop, the Avengers 237. Spider-Man stows away on the Avengers aircraft to force them to give him a tryout to join the team. Little does he know he's in for a little surprise against the likes of Elektra, Rhino, Moonstone, and Blackout as they attempted their escape from Project Pegasus. Will he prove worthy to be called an Avenger? It features standout artwork from Al Milgrom. This was a Father's Day gift from my son. He surprised me with this book as I was watching the world's most popular show on YouTube, Comic Book Canon. Thank you for mentioning that, by the way, because that's all true. He picked up this from DBS. I'm super grateful to add this to my PC. Good stuff indeed. Nukes, again, happy birthday to your son, 15 years old. Joe, I like that submission. I like that story. He's just not eligible because he's already won.
Right. Yeah, screw him.
Screw him. No, it is a good story, though. That would be one that we would consider for sure. Joseph, your first fresh get of the week. What do you got?
Ooh, okay. So this was a pickup. This actually, to be perfectly honest, is not totally fresh from the comic shop. This was a box that I bought a long time ago, over a year ago probably, and I never really went through it. It was mostly magazines and stuff like that. A guy threw it in with a collection, and I went through the whole collection. It was tons of long boxes, and I didn't really look at the magazines until recently, and then I did just this week, and I found this. This is Vampire Tales #1. So this is the first Vampire Tales Bronze Age horror. Marvel was kind of branching out before they were able to really do a lot of the the horror stuff in the comics. They did the magazines to have a little bit more of the adult content, more gruesome stuff, scarier stuff. Not only is this the first issue, it's also the first solo Morbius story. It does predate. It predates Adventure into Fear #20, which is the comic book first Morbius solo story. But yeah, this one does predate that. Pretty cool. And there was actually a lot of that run was in there, including some of the keys.
That submission right there says Joe. It's just Joe. All over it is Joe. And that's an interesting fact that that's the first solo Morbius story. I love that pickup, especially for you. Next up, we have Nori Jordan, who is not eligible because you are in the finals of July. But this week, I will mildly mix it up. A few years back, when I got back into the hobby, I was clueless on what books were popular during my 20-year absence, so much so that I skipped past the Young Avengers #1 in a dollar bin. After I learned of this mistake, I was fascinated by this book and the characters in it. I became more interested once I found out Haley Steinfeld, my personal crush, don't tell my wife. Too bad she knows right now, because you know damn well her friends are watching the show because we're the most popular show on YouTube. Anyways, we'll be playing Kate Bishop in the MCU. And in tribute to both these ladies, I was able to get a Young Avengers #1 9.8 back in my collection, and a 4th copy of Hawkeye #1 found in a dollar bin. Hopefully we can see Kate Bishop and Hawkeye together in the MCU. Take care, everyone. Yeah, hopefully you could see Kate Bishop and Hawkeye together in the MCU.
Yeah, Hawkeye as Hawkeye, because she hasn't really taken on the role of Hawkeye.
No, she's not been officially called Hawkeye.
But in the Hawkeye show, we did see them together. But maybe again, I would like to see him continue in a mentor role for the.
Oh, for sure. I definitely want to see both of them back. And that run, actually, that's another great run. Young Avengers. Those 12 issues are great. What's his name? Albert Chung. The art, fantastic. I love that. But I still can't say it's like my favorite. It's so hard for me to say. Oh, Death of the Family by Batman, by the way, and Craven's Last Hunt.
You like Death in the Family more than you like Year One? I think in that time period, Year One beats out Death in the Family.
I don't know, man.
Just me though.
I think Year One was a bit too mature for me, and the impact you had.
Goober. Yeah, I forgot you're a goofy goober.
The impact you had in the death of a character was something that didn't happen as often as it does now.
Bro, what happens in the first issue of Year One? Bruce Wayne's parents die.
I didn't grow up on Bruce Wayne's parents.
All right, guy. Keep going.
Oh, God, I'm gonna go to my first fresh get of the week, and Joe, you're gonna be so surprised. I stopped by my comic shop. I got a huge stack of comics. I'm talking like that. Like that, as thick as the book that Raising Elm was studying.
Thick with 2 C's.
And believe it or not, in that stack, Joe, I actually got a Void Rivals #10. Can you believe it?
Yes.
In my pull list. Very excited to read this. I am so behind. So yeah, that's what I'm saying right there. So dig on that. I don't know what that means. Moving on. We got Kaboom Comics, who is not eligible, by the way. So the first 3 people are not eligible. I love how Kaboom puts the fresh from the comic shop up there. Where is it? Just had to share with my comic book canon, fresh from the comic shop, comic book community, and comic book family. Got this 2 days ago. Just wanted to share my new book this week. So it looks like a nice collection of Wolverine and Daredevil books. Oh, it's I think it's the new run, the Wolverine and Daredevil. So nice pickups there for sure. Joseph, your second fresh get of the week.
Yeah. This I actually just picked up today. This is the only book that I bought today. I went to a convention, but it was not a comic convention. It was called it's called Too Many Games. It is a video game convention outside of Philadelphia. And last year I went and I bought a bunch of comics last year. Not a ton. There were probably 10 vendors or so, 12 vendors maybe at most, probably 10 with comics last year. This year there really were not, and it was all either super overpriced stuff or absolute dollar bin junk that they just had laying around. I guess they brought it just to have a box of comics on their table. But there was one guy who had some good stuff, including this right here.
Oh, look at you.
First print, Legend of Zelda #1. This is the priced variant. There's one that has it doesn't have a price on the top. That's a little bit less printed. But this is the price variant right here. And I already have this book in my personal collection, but it was marked affordably. So I figured, hey, let's buy this and I'll put it up in a claim sale. And in the meantime, it gives me an opportunity to read this book because I don't think I've ever read it.
Interesting. The old Valiant Comics.
Valiant Nintendo.
When they first dabbled in video games. But I think they did announce the Zelda movie. I don't know what that's going to be.
And Zelda, like there's two video game franchises really that top my list. Legend of Zelda and Final Fantasy. So getting a proper Zelda movie is like very high on my list of things that I want.
This is not the only Valiant book that's worth something because there's a Super Mario Brothers one, right?
Yeah, all the Nintendo ones have some value. There's Super Mario Brothers. There's what's it called? Nintendo Special Edition. There's a Game Boy comic. All of those have actually a pretty decent amount of value. That is one of the more valuable ones. That one, Super Mario Brothers 1, and Nintendo Sneak Preview, which actually predates them all. That's the most expensive one. But there are some Valiant books as well, like Harbinger #1 actually has some pretty significant value.
No, I think
wave of books.
I think Goonish is talking video games, but I don't know. But yeah, no. Valiant's had a crazy run. They had a promising resurgence in 2011 that just went to poop. See, I didn't swear. Because another company bought them out and got rid of the original people that were the people that were in love with Valiant as kids, brought the company back. And so, anyways, that's that. That's what you're saying. So just
mostly just the Nintendo ones. There are other early ones that have value, but the Nintendo ones are kind of the best bet.
Turok and Bloodshot 1 are up there.
Turok 1, yeah. There's only 30 copies of that in every collection I buy.
Exactly. All right. Moving on to good friend of the show and a gentleman you just met, I do believe, a little over a week ago, Goonish Lurker. This time last week, I got Frost Behemoth, and I got to meet up with Joe, aka 360 Comics, at the world famous Mile High Comics. I knew I didn't want to spend a fortune on their comics, but I went through their bargains, quote unquote, bins, and found a copy of X Factor 40, which isn't necessarily key, but it is the first Rob Liefeld Marvel work. Actually, that's something right there, by the way. And the upcoming Deadpool movie, Deadpool and Wolverine, and the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine, it's been great to follow his legacy. Following him on Instagram, he seems so stoked to see his work being showcased on the big screen. He had a lot of haters over the years, and in this day and age, he would have been bullied into oblivion by the online world. I love X Factor. It's a fun title. When it was coming out, didn't take itself too seriously. I loved X Factor as well. And I think this is significant. I think, personally, Joe, I don't know what you think. Liefeld does have haters, but I was big on Liefeld as a kid. Like, I loved his artwork. I didn't care if I didn't see feet. I didn't really even know anything about that.
I'll say this. I'm not a huge fan of his artwork, but I'm definitely not a hater, and I definitely respect the impact that he had on comics.
Yeah.
Especially, being a founder of Image, and his book was the first book. Youngblood #1 was the first Image comic that came out. That was the first book they published. But yeah, he blocked me on Instagram. So
hater. That. By the way, I like what Kaboom said. Joe, what do you
Yeah.
think of Guillermo del Toro if he did Zelda? That would be fantastic. That would be really cool take.
I mean, he does no wrong in my book, but
That would be a really cool take
sure.
for sure.
You know,
I'm
it would
gonna-
be actually. Hold up, what if Wes Anderson did Zelda?
oh my god! No, I would
that
not
might
want
be
it.
really cool.
No, that's a terrible combination.
No, stop. That would be so cool.
It's just not a good. It could be one of those combinations that is so out there it would absolutely work. So I don't know, but I don't think they're going to go that route. My second fresh get of the week, Joe. So I told you I had a stack of books what I picked up, and believe it or not, guess what? I got another Energon book. It's Destro #1. Very excited to read this book.
No,
Very
my
cool
God.
cover. I read a preview of it. The artwork is awesome. You got the bats. I'm telling you, man, the throwbacks to my childhood in these books is incredible. I don't know if anybody else read this out there, but I finally read the Free Comic Book Day book from the Energon Free Comic Book Day book. And there, I literally was on the bed with Alicia, my fiance, and I literally went, whoa, when I saw this one character in the book that it just blew me away. It was so amazing. Anyways, I know Joe's giving me that look like, shut up about the Energon universe. I'm sorry, but I'm really not.
I'm glad you like it, man. I'm glad you like it.
Thank you. Moving on, we got Mike Hags 77, who another person who is not eligible, by the way. This is Spawn's most recent issue, and it doesn't disappoint. From the art to the story, especially the double splash page and the final splash page. I remember when Image was launched and seeing this Hell Spawn, Spider-Man type character, I had to buy it. I'm happy this run is still going. It's a constant on my pull list. That's a great submission right there from our next popcorn person, if that makes sense, right? Does that make sense?
Ooh,
Our next popcorn person. All right, Joe, let's hold off on your third fresh get. It seems like we're going a little too quick here. All right, part of the show. He is eligible, by the way. He has no say in this whatsoever. He is our news editor, and we have Josh's Comics, Batman, Superman, World's Finest 28 variant by Nathan Zerdel. I don't know if I got that pronounced correctly. Don't often pre-order variants, but I had to have this. Nathan killed it with this homage to Batgirl Adventures #1 and Superman Adventures #21. I added both books to each side. Watching both Bats and Superman Adventures back to back every week was my childhood, and would always follow me. My soft spot for the DC ladies is obviously from my childhood. Note in the bottom right that Harley and Ivy make an appearance as well. I hope we see both Barbara and Kara interact in the DCU. Enjoy this fresh from the comic shop. I do like the submission. I like it a lot.
This ticks some boxes for me.
It ticks at least 2 out of 3. Moving on, Danny and Tessa. This week has been a rough one. Everything from an accidental but thankfully minor shoulder surgery to issues with the family. But I'm glad I finally found the time to create a new fresh from the comic shop submission. Amazing Spider-Man number 287 has one of my favorite covers in my entire PC. Ever since Spider-Man 2 came out on PS5, I've been obsessed with Spidey's symbiote costume. I'm also a huge Daredevil fan. I have Netflix and Chip Zdarsky to thank for that. Ever since I was a kid, I've always thought about what it might be like to be a superhero. I've always thought about the cons of being such a thing. When Stan Lee created Spider-Man, he wanted him to have personal problems. Well, when Peter acquired the symbiote, his personal problems caused him to lose himself. Cue Eminem music. He began lashing out at everyone closest to him and blaming them for everything. He stopped accepting responsibility for his problems and actions. More recently, I decided that is not the way I want to live my life. I've been learning to take responsibility for my actions as a person. In the wise words of my father, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. That is a really good submission. Thank you for bringing that and sharing that with the group, Danny. We hope your shoulder's feeling good. We hope the family issues are better. Great submission right there. Joseph.
Yes.
I'm gonna hold off, and we're gonna do one more submission here before.
Bro, you keep
No, actually, no. Let's do it. Let's do it.
tricking me. You're playing a little tricky game.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. This right here.
Ooh.
I bought a collection that had a bunch of hardcovers, soft covers, trade paperbacks, a couple omnibus. Nothing crazy, just a lot of stuff, modern stuff. But this was in there, and I thought this was pretty cool. And I was like, "Oh, cool,
Very
the
cool.
Ramita Legacy." And I had never seen this before, and I opened it up, and guess what? Right on the inside, there is not only a John Romita Sr., but also a John Romita Jr. signature right
wow.
there. And it's numbered. I don't know how many. I would assume probably 500 because it's numbered 410. Could be more though, but probably at least 500. I'll have to look up some information. I haven't done so yet, but freaking cool. Doesn't matter. I'm keeping it either way. That's staying with my personal collection.
Really cool book, man. I think I saw you. You shared that in a text thread, I think. So I did get.
I did put it in our group chat. Yes,
that is really cool, man. I love that. Love that submission right there. I have to say, I love this submission, and he is eligible because he got knocked out last week. This is Raising Elm. This is very interesting, and it's really hard to see everything here. I probably should have blown this picture up, but hear me out. Howdy, comic fam. Earlier this week, I went to our LCS and I came across a book with intriguing yet simplistic cover art design. I wasn't actually looking for this book because I already had a few copies of the first print, but I decided to pick it up anyways. It was a third printing of X-Men 97 with cover art by Salvador Espin, which was framed, quote unquote, quite nicely. Seeing the X-Men in a nice family photo made me think of how another bald guy, Jeff, brought us all together here at the Cannon. Thank you, Jeff, Chris, and Joe, another bald guy, for making this happen. If not for y'all, I wouldn't have met some awesome guys like Mike Haggs, Nori Jordan, Cable Leland, and Goonish Lurker. Mike invites me to his awesome presentation once a week, Trigger Happy Thursdays, that I sometimes submit to. Jordan always checks in daily to say what's up and talks Thunderbolts. Caleb is always sharing a goofy reel or contest with awesome comic book prizes. And Trevor constantly supports the underdogs and his friends. Everyone in our canon community is beyond fantastic, but I felt these four guys deserved to stand out, or deserved a shout out. Thank you all for your steadfast friendship. Much love, Comic Fam. So what he did here was he got pictures of those four people and he framed them. Like, yet again, Justin crushes Fresh from the Comic Shop.
Yeah.
I am just blown away by this.
This is so cool.
It's
so cool.
God, very, very cool. And especially calling out all of those great people as well. He did it again. So we have one more submission, but before we get to that, we're gonna go with my third and final submission. And Joe, remember when I told you I had a stack like that thick of comic books?
Yep. Are we gonna see another Energon Universe book?
Yeah. You're not gonna believe what I got here.
Oh God.
It's Scarlet #1. It's part of the Energon universe. Yeah. I'm very excited to read this as well. So cool. As you can see, the Storm Shadow. It's his tattoo right there. Kind of ominous right there. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I'm sure a lot of you fine people did. I'm pretty sure that I'm looking at spoilers. Gotta stop. But I'm very excited to read that one. Can you believe I got another Energon book, Joe?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, I can.
I'm not predictable. Okay. Brian Klotz is going to close it out here, and this is a really cool submission. We'll get in that in a second. The amazing work of Jack Kirby and Mark Morales 11 side by side in a comic capsule. I am so excited to have these in my collection and can't believe how awesome they look together. This is my third commission for Mark that he did for me after the Philly Fan Expo this year, and I cannot recommend his work enough. Absolutely check him out. I think this is cool. Look at that submission right there. That Galactus on the right. That's unique, Joe.
Yeah, that's freaking awesome.
It's really,
wow.
It's
who did that? Good. Mark Morales?
Yeah.
Oh man, there's so many good submissions this week.
I know, dude. A lot of them are not eligible. I'd say Most of them are.
I know,
not.
but there's a couple that are eligible that are topping the list for me.
We really need to. Yeah, we're gonna need help here. We may as well just bring the judge in early. Your Honor, please. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, gentlemen. So we've got 9 submissions. 4 are not eligible. So you boys have some work ahead of you. What say you, both of you?
First of all, we just want to recognize the Honorable De La Torre. Just want to continue to kiss his ass.
A wise move. A wise
Thank
maneuver. Yes.
Joe, I got 3, man. This is gonna be tough.
You got 3. I also have 3. I'm going to go back to one of the first ones that I noted, and that was Josh's awesome presentation here. You'll put that one up. Yeah, I'm a big fan of homage covers, and this one is really cool, specifically because it definitely checks off unique here. We've got a double homage. They took 2 covers, 2 famous, Batman or DC animated universe covers. The first appearance of Batgirl and the first appearance of Supergirl in comics, or the DC AE or DC AU versions of those characters, and kind of combine those covers, the same poses and everything, right on the cover of this new book. Beautiful. I love that Josh included the originals next to that one. So that one was definitely stood out to me.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Josh. I love you, but that one didn't make my top 3.
Okay. All right. Give me one of yours.
It's Danny. Like what he said here. I like how, you see what Spider-Man what he becomes with the symbiote, and that is somebody without any sort of accountability, somebody who has to kind of learn that like your actions have consequences.
Yeah.
And you have to kind of own up to that. And I like what he says about that, because I feel like everybody has been there that doesn't understand how that works. And, it is a great cover. I love that issue. So that's one of mine. Joseph.
That one was not on my list.
Okay.
Another one that was, though, on my list is Raising Elms.
That's on my list too.
This is great. I mean, the setup, the connection to the canon, the connection to pulling on the heartstrings, of course, because these are people we're interacting with every week, and this kind of community that we built here. Come on, man. This is all
celebrates of it. That it celebrates these people. Like it's amazing.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Shouting out other members of the community and stuff like that, and mentioning your interactions with them. And then we obviously there's still some more that we're thinking about.
Well, I have one more.
Me too. What's yours?
It's Brian Klotz.
Mine also is Brian Klotz.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Great example of it being unique. It just, I like how he's put it side by side with 49. I just, the picture it's sick. That picture is amazing.
It's very cool. I like that, like both Galactuses are kind of looking inward. Just the nice little setup of that, and I don't know if the artist did that kind of on purpose or not, but I love sketch covers, love remarks and stuff like that. So, and to have the original, the first full appearance of Galactus right next to it, that is sweet.
Yeah. So, Your Honor, we have 2, and Joe, man,
are you leaning one way or another?
I don't know. Well, are you?
I am.
I am too, because I think one of these has more than the other in terms of the criteria.
I agree.
I'll go first if you want.
Go for it.
It's got to be Raising Elm.
It's got to be Raising Elm. Yeah.
Judge De La Torre, your thoughts on moving Raising Elm? Did we do everything by the book?
Now, Joe, so that's the one you're leaning towards, Jeff. What about you, Joe?
Yes, me as well.
Okay, then that's the one. I had a different opinion. I'll talk about it afterwards. But no, if both of you are in agreement, you've come to a good enough connection. Raising Elm wins this particular round. Case dismissed.
Wow, that was a smooth move. I don't know. I'm at a loss for words. I think
That's
I'm
why you
fine.
pay me the big bucks, gentlemen.
Yeah. Thank you again for coming in, Your Honor, and making that happen. Let's bring Josh in for the closing. Oh, by the way, just Raising Elm, you're going to move on to the semifinals yet again for the month of July. We are going to have our June finals vote up tomorrow. We'll have that up by tomorrow. We will announce our July book next week. We may have Tony Tremetta on from EGS announcing something very cool. We don't know. But let's bring Josh on.
Look, I can't believe this either. We're gonna be talking to HR. I gotta go. I'm back on the camera.
Why is he so much trouble? Like, why is this employee so much trouble? Judge, do you have any recommendations, or it's not in your purview?
Josh, is that your bookie you're talking to? You're on the phone often, quite a bit this on this.
I was actually trying to contact HR, the HR department here at the Canon.
Oh, because you're not happy with the way we voted on the books.
Well, no, I mean I'm happy with what Joe voted.
Because
Jeff,
he said you're okay. Got it, Judge. Please make note of this.
I'm feeling like maybe you don't have any good taste, Jeff.
Okay, this behavior is not. We're not going to tolerate this. Not going to tolerate it. So, Josh, again, looking forward to the legal shenanigans that we have coming towards our way this week. Please have your lawyer contact ours. Until then, you're stuck on this show. Joseph, any final words for this episode?
No, I don't think so. It's been a crazy week for me coming back from vacation, and I've had a ton of stuff going on. But yeah, as always, great to come chill on a Sunday night, hang out with the community, and chat about comics.
I love this community. I love learning about Tapatio and soap. And it's been an interesting episode. Like, it's been a great episode. A lot of fun.
It was kind of deep, actually. You got into some, what you had to go through as a kid for disciplinary action. It was we learned a lot more than we probably should have about your people's backgrounds.
I think you said it best, Your Honor, is that we should have a show counselor as well. That would help out big time. We had people talking about eating cigarettes and never smoked again. It's been a lot. We've been learning a lot about people this week. And I truly appreciate this community. I say it every week, and it's no bullshit. Like, I really, truly do. It's amazing, especially the friendships that have formed through the canon. That's like blows our minds away. Like, Joe and I were just like, wow. So yeah, again, let's keep it going. We love you all. And yeah, just be good to yourself, be good to others, and we will see you next week. Hee hee.